If you've been shopping for new construction here in Las Vegas or really anywhere in the country, then you may have noticed something. Inventory feels tighter, builder incentives are getting heavier, and even the biggest names in home building, they're quietly pulling back right now. And today we're talking about Lennar, one of the largest home builders in the United States, and why they just cut their delivery target for 2026. So this is real, verifiable data straight from Lennar's own earning reports, their SEC filings, and the executive leadership. So let's get into this. Just a couple weeks ago, Lennar officially lowered its full year 2026 home delivery target. They were originally planning to deliver around 85,000 homes this year, and that number has been dropped to 82,000, maybe 83,000 homes. So it might seem like a small adjustment, but we're talking about cutting anywhere from 2,000 to 3,000 homes off the schedule at one of the biggest home builders in the country. And that matters for the entire housing supply. So what is actually driving this? The first and the biggest reason is the mortgage rates. Stuart Miller, Lennar's executive chairman and CEO, said it himself on their most recent earnings call. He described the second quarter of 2026 as defined by what he called the same stubborn headwinds that have challenged the housing market for the past several years. He specifically named persistently elevated mortgage rates as the leading issue. So when rates stay in the mid to upper 6% range, buyers either can't qualify, don't want to lock in at those levels, or they're just simply going to stay out of the game. And when buyer traffic slows, builders have less reason to break ground on new homes. So the second reason is the affordability. And this is closely tied to the rates, but it goes beyond that. So Lennar's average sales price in quarter 2, 2026 dropped 5% year over year, falling from $389 down to $371. And that tells you a lot. Builders aren't seeing the pricing power right now. They're actually cutting prices and piling on incentives just to keep these homes moving. So Lennar disclosed that they're currently offering roughly 12.9% in incentives on average. And that's interest rate buydowns, price reductions, closing cost credits, things like that. This is a heavy incentive load, and it directly compresses those margins. Their gross margin on home sales dropped from 17.8 last year down to 15.6 the last quarter. And what those margins are falling, and you're spending more to sell each home, you don't race to build more of those. The third factor is the consumer confidence. Miller also pointed out to cautious consumer sentiment and geopolitical uncertainty as the amplifying the problem. So there's been a resurgent inflation reading of 4.2%, driven in part by high energy prices. So when buyers are watching prices go up, interest rates stay elevated, global headlines are crazy, they hesitate on the biggest purchase of their lives. New orders from Lennar actually came down 4% year over year in quarter 2. And fewer orders today mean fewer starts tomorrow. So here's something important to understand, and that this is where it's going to get interesting from a Las Vegas real estate perspective, is that Lennar's not panicking. They're not in a free fall. Stuart Miller was actually pretty measured in his comments. So he said the fundamental shortage of housing in America hasn't been solved. Demand is real, it's deferred and building. He also noted that the gap between where the incentives are right now and where they should be in a normal market is narrowing for the first time in 3 years. So that's a signal that things are starting to stabilize, even if it's slow. So what Lennar is doing is playing the long game. So they're cutting cycle time, they're dropping their construction costs, and maintaining what they call an even flow production model. And their construction cycle time actually hit a new record low of 121 days this past quarter. They're not building less because they think the housing market's broken. They're adjusting volume to match what the market can actually absorb right now. But here is what this means for you as a buyer or as an investor. So when the largest home builders in the country reduce their delivery targets, that has downstream effects on supply. Less new construction hitting the market in the next 12 to 18 months means less competition between new builds. It means the existing homes that do come to market hold more value. And it means that when rates do eventually come down and the pent-up demand releases, that we may actually see a supply crunch that pushes prices back up quick. So Las Vegas is not immune to these national forces, but it's also not equally exposed. Our market has its own dynamics, including continued migration from California and other high-cost states, a strong rental market, and a new master plan communities that are drawing buyers who are committed to relocating here. So if you're watching Lennar slow down and you're wondering, what does that mean for your own decision to buy or invest here in Las Vegas, then I'd love to talk through it with you, but there's a lot of opportunity in this market if you know where to look and how to time it right. So drop your questions in the comments. Hit subscribe for weekly Vegas real estate updates. And if you want to talk about what neighborhoods and price points make the most sense for you right now, then the link to schedule a call is in the description below. So let's build your plan. I'm Jacob Ballew. I'll see you in the next one.